Welcome to this, I guess it's May's 4th Thursday. Today we're joined by Amanda Welch, who is a program assistant at the State 4-H office. She is our Healthy Living Program aficionado. She is absolutely amazing. I've heard so much positive about a lot of her in-services she does, helping to get our agents ready to do healthy living programs in their counties, things like Soccer for Success. And the thing that she's going to share today with you, I believe, is her food challenge, which is really exciting. My daughter is head over heels about ready to start this. She's trying to drum up her team as we go. So Amanda, it is all yours.
Thank you, Hope. So I have a slideshow that kind of follow along. As Hope said, I'm Amanda Welch, the Healthy Living Program Associate. A little bit, I oversee our yoga program along with the food challenge. I also help with the Soccer for Success and anything healthy living related. It's one of the mission mandates. I also have Jesse Bosnick that does the outdoor side and the shooting, and we're all familiar with Mr. Jesse. He's awesome. So the food challenge, it's new, but it actually has been around for quite some time. It's new for our state, but Texas, it originated in Texas. They have a national competition that happens at the Texas State Fair between September and October. So the goal for this is we will take one senior team this year to go compete at nationals have yet to release them dates. They're still finalizing a few things. They're hoping to have it out by mid of June. So that'll be going up on our website as well. Registration is open. Registration is done through our enrollment. You do have to have your county agents to register your teams. You can have 2 junior teams or 2 senior teams. We are limiting the teams. So I recommend, if you know that you're going to have a team, to go ahead and get registered, even though if you're not for sure how many you're going to have. Again, we're capping it at 35. Registration will close June 30th. And again, the competition will be on August 6th. It's a Friday at the Pulaski Culinary School. It's a fairly new college facility. I'm really excited to have a partnership with them, so everyone can kind of see their new facility. So what does it take to participate? You've got to have 4-H youth, so they have to be enrolled in 4-H. They have to be juniors 9 through 13th, and seniors is 14th through 19th, and that is based on your 4-H year. And I know this has a mess up. It says grade, but it should say their participants 4-H age as of January 1. So if you, for instance, have a 14-year-old now, but at January 1st, they were 13, they still have to compete in that junior division for this year. Each team can have 3 to 4 participants. They may not include different age divisions, and you are recommended to designate like one team captain when it comes time to check in their kits and stuff like that. That's who's going to be the lead on that. Team members are required to wear non-slip-toed shoes, long sleeves, pants, and they have to have their hair pulled back. They can have a cap, the chef's hat, or hair net, whatever y'all need to have. Each team will be required the $100 registration fee. That'll cover for them a t-shirt, the cooking supplies when they compete, for each team member to have as well. And then of course awards will be determined based on sponsorships, and at that time, as I said, again, the senior team that wins first place will get a trip to compete at national, which will be covered by the state. So what's in the food challenge? Food challenge is broken up into 4 categories. And as you can tell, I kind of modified based on what national standards there are. So when we go in to compete, we're competing at the level to get prepared for nationals. There are little tweaks here and there that makes it a little more accommodating for us, just because it is so new. But the food categories are kind of the same. As you can tell, there's the meat, protein, fruit and vegetables, grain and dairy. At the competition time, they won't know ahead of time until they come to day of and they get which category they're going to have to cook from. But it'll give them a little bit of time to kind of see, okay, well, we're doing dairy, so we're going to do probably a lot with calcium and have to talk about the nutritions of that. But they won't know until the day of. Each team will have to create an entire dish or recipe, but not a full meal. They will only be using the key ingredients and what we consider the pantry items to make this dish. They will only get 40 minutes to make the dish, as well as writing up the instructions and their presentation. The dish should have 2 or more servings to it, and they will present the whole dish to a group of judges. Teams will be responsible determining the number of servings for their dish, and they should not create any side dishes or any multiple dishes with like leftover food. It's just that one dish. Now they can garnish it, present it, and you know, kind of give it more of a presentation, but they should only make that one dish. So here I have an example of some kits that we have at the state office. We have about 8 kits that can be checked out if you are wanting to kind of do a mock-up or just even practice with. I will say that if you want, you know, kind of a cheaper version, you can go to the Dollar Tree. You can get the majority of the stuff, not all of the stuff, but the majority of the stuff. Or you can have your teams bring some of it and just use it at that time. But what is required in the boxes is everything except for in yellow. That's what we'll provide at the state level. But as you can tell, they'll need a glass, bowls, can openers, cooking sheet, etc. At the state level, we'll provide the electric burners, calculator, electric skillet, and the food thermometer. And again, I have 8 kits at the state office that have everything in them. You're welcome to check them out. I'll have my contact stuff at the end of this that you can reach out to me, or I'll put it in the chat when we wrap up, or get with your county agent and they can get in contact with me as well. Teams cannot have more than what is listed in their box or container, whatever they're bringing to state competition. Anything extra will be asked to take out, and they'll have to take it back to their vehicle. So if, you know, for example, they can have up to 5 hot plate, what I call them pot holders. They can have up to 5. If they bring in 8, we're going to have to ask them to take 3 out, that sort of thing. And of course, as of right now, nothing has changed, but supply boxes we are basing this off of what national requires. So if national comes out and says, now we're going to include or exclude something, we'll also make modifications. So this will change over time. It doesn't always stay the same. So how to play. We ask that no participants have any jewelry or electronics with them during the competition. They'll be assigned the cooking or preparation station. As of right now, we're still trying to make it to where participants have to go to the food pantry to get more of their key items to cook with. If COVID restrictions are still kind of iffy, we will have all the ingredients they will need in a bag at their station at the time for them to be able to compete. The dish or recipe created should include 2 or more. Like I said before, the team will present the entire dish to the judges, and they will include an individual serving size. Teams are responsible for determining the number of serving sizes for the dish. Let me see. Oh, yeah, very important thing. The culinary school is a zero waste facility, meaning that they have nothing that just kind of goes off. Everything has a spot. So at competition time, there'll be individual bins, which will be labeled, and they'll have a sheet, information sheet to kind of help them of where everything goes. So that's one little extra thing that Nashville doesn't really have, but we'll have at the state level because of the facility we are using. So what they will have at their competition at their station is these resources for them to reference back to. So this My Plate is a mini My Plate that breaks up like on an average of a 2,000 calorie person. This is how many servings of fruit, vegetables, etc. that they should have. Knowing your nutrition, talking about calcium or different, sorry about that, different kind of nutrients that you can get from different foods for them to be able to reference back to include in their presentation to the judges. Fight Back, Foodborne Bacteria brochure is one of them as well. A food safety is another. And at the end of this, I will show you where you can get these resources from, what I'm presenting on for you to use as well to reference back to. And of course, a little resource about the recycling that'll be included too. And this will be at their station. So if they could get familiar with it and kind of know if they need a reference back to where they can pull that from. So the way the competition works is they'll be judged on their preparation and also their presentation. So there are two parts to it. At the junior level, there will be a little bit of a change in the scoring because we're not going to make them, it's encouraged, but they won't be counted against if they don't have a serving and price calculated in. So the junior level is going to be a little bit different than senior level, just because it's so new and getting them comfortable with even competing. I don't feel like that's something that we should have judges take away from them since it's so new. So here's an example of this score cards. And I kind of have some videos embedded in this for you to see. And this is a video from Texas doing a presentation to the judges. So hopefully it will pull up.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Bianca Garcia, and this is
Remy Hargett, and this is
Renee Boyle.
And the name of our dish is RGB Chicken Tortilla Soup.
And the name of our team is the Food Factor, and we make you scared of fatty foods.
Ooh.
Now we'll begin with the My Plate of our dish. Beginning with protein, we have chicken and beans. For girls between the ages of 14 and 18, like me and Bianca, we need 5 ounces a day. And for boys between the ages of 14 and 18, like Remy, he needs 6.5 ounces. For vegetables, we have green onions, jalapenos, and cilantro. For girls, you need 2.5 cups, and for boys, you need 3 cups. For fruits, we have tomatoes, and girls need 1.5 cups, and boys need 2 cups. For dairy, we had cheese, which boys and girls both need 3 cups a day. For grains, we had tortillas. And for girls, you need 6 ounces recommended, but a minimum a day is 3 ounces. And for boys between the ages of 14 and 18 is 8 ounces recommended with a minimum of 4 ounces. For the substitutions in our dish, the substitutions, we could have gone with a bison or a duck meat. That's actually some of the healthiest meats you can eat instead of the chicken. And for alterations, we could have gone with a leaner meat. Or for the cheese, for example, we could have gone with a low fat or a lactose intolerant, just in case someone is lactose. They can actually have the cheese on top. And we could have also gone with all organic fruits and vegetables. Now I'll pass it on to Bianca Garcia for the nutritional knowledge of our dish.
Thank you, Renee. The nutrients in our dish goes as follows. For our main ingredient, we had tortillas. Tortillas provide our body with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are beneficial to our bodies as they help us absorb other nutrients and supply energy to different parts of the body. Next, we had beans and chicken. Beans and chicken provide us with protein. Protein is beneficial to our body as they form antibodies to fight infection and build and repair all body tissue. Next, we had cheese, which provides our body with calcium. Calcium benefits our body as it helps us build strong bones and teeth and helps our muscles contract and relax normally and delays fatigue. And last but not least, we had, tomato and jalapenos. Tomatoes and jalapenos provide our body with vitamin C. Vitamin C is beneficial to our body as it helps heal wounds and promotes iron absorption. Now I'll pass it on to Remy Hargett with the food preparation and food safety of our dish.
Thank you, Bianca. So we began by collaborating as a group and deciding to make this RGB chicken tortilla soup. Then we first put 1.5 cups of chicken broth on to boil. Then we added diced onion, tomatoes, and jalapenos and let that simmer for close to 5 minutes. After that, we added 1/2 cup of pinto beans and let that simmer for 10 minutes. Aside from that, we pan-fried one chicken tenderloin, once thoroughly cooked and chopped it up and added it to the soup. Lastly, we sliced our tortilla and put that in the soup and let that simmer for just a short time to absorb a lot of the flavor from the chicken broth. Lastly, we garnished our dish with just a little green onion and cilantro to give it a freshness and flavor. For the food safety of our dish, first of all, we made sure to have our hair tucked back in hairnets and we wore appropriate clothing for a cooking environment. We also made sure to keep our hands clean before cooking, and before touching any food, we washed down our entire area. Throughout our preparation, we kept our meats separate from our vegetables and our other ingredients and used 2 different cutting boards for our different ingredients. Once plated, we cleaned our dishes, hands, and work area one last time. I will now hand it back to Renee for the math of our dish.
Thank you, Remy. For the math of our dish, we have tortillas. For the ingredients, in store it was $2.88 for a package of 10 tortillas, and because we only used one, the measurement was 28 cents. And so that was also the total for the ingredient was $2.88 and per measurement 28 cents. And then per serving, this we fed 1 serving, so we decided to go as well for the serving 28 cents. Do the judges have any questions?
So as you can see, each participant took time and had a part in the presentation. And that's very important when you have your teams compete, that each person has speaking points. Of course, they had index cards for them to help, kind of help them lead them on their way. Okay, so what they will have at their station is, and of course, at competition, it'll be a little more paper so they can have room, but they'll have kind of a layout like this. It'll have kind of a knowledge of my plate so they can write down what foods they have, what source it comes from, the nutrition, they can make kind of notes on that as well, and the steps, the preparation steps of how they're going to cook their dish. What food safety tips that, that they did along the way, using a different knife when they were cutting with vegetables versus, they use with meat. Just them key things that they'll compile together for when they do their presentation. The serving size portion as well. So is there any questions so far? I feel like I've maybe been pretty quick. Please stop me at any time if you have any questions. In the chat, I can't really see the chat.
They just are commenting that they like the video and explained a lot.
Okay, awesome. So the next is tips that I have is get your teams to practice. Get them, give them a recipe, have them cook together, working as a team, see who takes the lead on who likes to, kind of be more of the prep and who likes to be more of the cook, who's going to be the chef and who's going to be the chef, who's going to be the one that actually writes more of the stuff down, the steps. And I have another video that kind of helps. For me, it helped me wrap my mind around if I was going to have a team, what that would look like and who needed to take what role and how to do that within that time frame. I will reassure you that any ingredients that teams get, the concept is they should be able to make that dish within a 30 to 35 minute That way it gives them a roughly around a 5-minute time to compile together, get cleaned up, and write down what they're going to present on. Before COVID, I was really looking forward to having our judges taste the food, because with our food challenge is going to be a little different. We are focusing on what I consider corner store foods, meaning foods that you can find at the dollar store, Walgreens, Rite Aid, because of course, you know, in Arkansas, we have quite a bit of food desert areas, and we're trying to make some nutrition meals that you can also find at your local corner store. So I would really love if we could have our judges taste it to see if it was a success, or if it was just more on a, you know, instead of a presentation level of what it looked like. So we could probably hopefully have a recipe book, but that might be future goals, but still looking forward to it. I know our local Dollar General down the street has some eggs and cheese and stuff like that. So they're more and more starting to improve with what types of foods they have. And Dollar Generals and stuff, not every Dollar General has that, I understand, but I'm going to try to get it as close as I can, so families can have more of a better nutrition recipes to go by. I know I catch myself buying just quick, easy snacks versus getting something that is more nutritional for my kids. But like I said, I recommend just have your teams practice. Here is a video of how you can help assemble who's assigned to do what with the teams.
Those emotions, they were put on hold by time, by careers being built.
Okay, girls, your 40 minutes is fixing to start. Tell me how you set up yourselves and organize yourselves for your preparation.
Well, whenever we have meat, I tend to cook the meat and do whatever needs to be done to our meat.
Okay.
I tend to cut up all of our vegetables and cook them.
Okay. And then do y'all work together to bring them together?
Yes, we work together to bring all the ingredients into one dish.
Okay.
And then for me, I start working on part of the presentation, because I do intro and conclusion and also how we made it. So I start, whenever they start doing stuff, I start writing down what they're doing. And then in the last like 5-10 minutes, we switch. They'll start on their presentation and I will plate everything and clean everything up.
Okay, sounds like y'all each have a specific role and stay very organized. So what about the other parts of the presentation, like nutritional value, cost analysis, food safety? Who does that? When do you work on that?
Well, in the last 10 to 5 minutes, when we switch, I have learned a lot of nutrition. Went through all different 4-H clubs, like foods and nutrition. So I already have some of that nutrition knowledge in my mind. So I tend to be in charge of the nutrition part.
Okay.
And also, if I don't know a certain nutrition, they give you guidebooks that you can, like resource packets that you can look back through, and that's also great help. And I am also in charge of food safety.
Okay.
And I am in charge of telling the judges about my plate and calculating and telling them about the cost analysis.
And so that's what y'all do in the last 5-10 minutes of your work time. So.
And if we finish with time left, we'll help Abigail clean up.
Okay, very good. Well, good luck as you get started on making your dish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I felt like that was very helpful of how they explain how each person in their role in the time frame and, you know, separating really helped my mind wrap around how our team's going to be able to do everything they need to do within that 40-minute time frame. And as you can see that they split up, one starts writing, the other one starts preparing and prepping. So another way that you can help if you don't have time to right now with still social distancing and stuff to work with your teams, if you want to shoot them some like recipes, For instance, I have this little example of an easy to make sugar cookie recipe. And of course, as you can tell, the directions is bake for 8 to 10 minutes. And then preheat the oven in the preheated oven until golden brown. Obviously, that is not step one. These are kind of broken up and I scrambled them up. So have them kind of put in order the correct directions in preparing these sugar cookies. And on the next slide, I have, the correct is preheat the oven, use a small bowl, that sort of thing. That's one way that you can help your teams get familiar with doing directions and following along. Another is, here's an example of what it's going to look at competition time. So this main ingredient is yogurt. So this would be a dairy product, is what that category would be. And the cost is $1.50 for 2 servings. So what they'll have the chance to do, if we're allowed, is to go to the pantry and at least get 2 other items to include in their main dish. And of course, they have a spending limit of $5. And what we're trying to get them to do on this example is to make a parfait. So when they finish, they should have something that's similar to a parfait, and is the goal of that. As you can tell, here's where it comes in as cost analysis and stuff. So I always remind your teams that they need to focus on that main ingredient, which is the yogurt, and the $1.50. So immediately get them in a habit on that first row, including their yogurt, including the cost, and of course, carry it over with the cost per measure if they're going to use the full 2 servings. And for instance, if they go and get a banana, but they don't want to use the full banana, but they have to buy a whole banana, and they decide we're just going to use half of that banana. So on that second row, they would put in under ingredients a banana. The cost them 50 cents, but they only used half of it. So really, truthfully, it was only 25 cents. So over here, their cost per measurement would be a little bit different than it would be if they used the whole banana. Of course, there's an asterisk right there. That's senior level will be judged on that. Junior level, not so much. Just because, like, again, it's very new, and that might be, we're more interested in how they work as a team, what they prepare, and kind of given that nutrition, calories, or food servings, I should say, not calories, food serving portions with my plate. So where can you go to get this information? You can go to programs on our website. Under programs, go to healthy living. And of course, we have all the information right here. I have the guidelines that I kind of went through that has the scorecards that you can kind of go over if you kind of want to do a mini. Also has the resource sheets that they'll have at their stations if you're wanting to do kind of a mock-up as well. And then some coaching tips. And there's also them videos that I just showed that are in there as well. So that is all I have, and I will open it up for questions. Please, questions. I don't know, how long, is it an hour? I feel like
We've been here a half hour, and that's about,
Okay.
You did a fine job. Does anybody have any questions to share? Feel free to unmic, or you can type them into the chat and I'll pass them on.
Very informative, very informative. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Ms. Martha.
I was a couple of minutes late. How many teams did you say each county could have?
So you can have 2 junior and 2 senior, but we are capping it at 35 teams total. So I would recommend if you're just going to use a junior team this year, to go ahead and get with your county agent, have them go ahead and register a team. And you can always put in the names when you know closer. Registration is open now. It will close June 30th. The competition is August 6th, which is a Friday, and it will be at the Pulaski Culinary College. I say it's Little Rock, but it's close more to Alexander area.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And again, we do have kits that y'all can check out. If y'all just get with your county agent, they can get with me, or you know, I can put my email in the chat. Just make sure you include your county agent when you're communicating, just in case they don't already have them checked out. But we do have about 8 kits, and it comes with everything you will need. If you need, you know, just to kind of help you as well to get this started. So.
Any other questions? You can feel free to ask questions about 4-H volunteerism as well if you'd like, or comments. I do have one small announcement to make that I neglected to mention at the beginning of the session, and that is that the Papa Top campaign has been disbanded. So if your clubs are collecting Papa Tops, you can go ahead and cash those in and donate them to your individual counties for use with programmatic functions, so that you can use it to get supplies for your clubs, or pay for sending kids to Orama or to these contests to register for the cooking challenge would be an example of what you could use it for. But we will no longer be collecting those at Oramas.
Well, when do you usually get this put up on the YouTube channel?
Well, we try to get it up within 2 days, but with it being a holiday weekend, I am not going to put pressure on our social media goddess. So we will probably look to have it up by midweek next week.
Okay, because if I wanted to share it with some people, so
Absolutely, Kim.
Okay, great, thank you.
Could I ask kind of what counties are we all from? I like to kind of keep a little mental note of how many counties I've reached with this. I've opened this up and done a few Zooms in the past.
Yeah, just go ahead and type it into the chat. I know we have White, Benton, I believe Sebastian, Celine, I think. But I'm just guessing, folks. So if you could go ahead. Yeah, all right, I'm shooting 100%. I didn't have Logan.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and you had Benton on earlier, but she fell off.
Okay, awesome.
So,
and I think Ms. Kim, you got on late. I did mention